We're gonna do one called Dust in a Baggie. It's about a friend of mine who got arrested for some dust in a baggie. And you'll figure out what it's about. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I ain't slept in 7 days, I haven't eaten 3. This methamphetamine has got a damn good hold of me. My tweaker friends have got me to the point of no return. So I just put my lighter to the bulb and watch it burn. This life of sin, it's got me in. Lord, it's got me back in prison once again. I use my only phone call to contact my daddy. I got 20 long years for some dust in a baggie. All right, man. Well, if I would have listened to my dear old mom and dad, I wouldn't be locked up in prison, troubled in the head. But I took my little pipe and sucked until my mind was spun. Now I got 20 years to sit and think of what I've done. This life of sin, it's got me in. Lord, it's got me back in prison once again. I used my only phone call to contact my daddy. I got 20 long years for some dust in a baggie. Sometimes I sit and wonder where my little life went wrong. These old jailhouse blues have got me singing this here song. Well, my life is a disaster, man, and I feel so ashamed. I'm in here where they call me by a number, not a name. This life of sin, it's got me in. Lord, it's got me back in prison once again. I use my only phone call to contact my daddy. I got 20 long years for some dust in a baggie. Well, I use my only phone call to contact my daddy. I got 20 long years for some dust in a baggie. Yeah, man, 20 long years for some dust in a baggie. That song is gonna be on our upcoming record, our upcoming album. It's called Rock of Ages. It should be out by the time you see this on TV. Hopefully. What do you say we slow things down a little bit, Don? I'm breaking a sweat here.
Alright, yeah.
We're gonna do an old Bill Monroe tune. It's kind of a waltz. It's called Lonesome Moonlight Waltz. Sweet picking, Don.
Well, thank you. Sound pretty good over there on the guitar yourself.
Thank you.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Northern Michigan Musicians Journal. I'm Dolph, and this is my co-host, Mary.
Hi.
Hi, Mary. It hasn't been that long of a time this time, has it?
No, it hasn't. And we're starting to enter into our new year soon. And
Well, we're recording on December 21st. Today's the day the world is supposed to end. And if it does, you won't see this show. But if it didn't, then you might as well get used to being here on Earth. And we'll try to help you along with that. I'm sure you enjoyed our first couple songs. It's by our guest, Billy Strings. And for some reason, I thought we were going to have Billy the Kid on the show. That's why I wore the hat. And of course, I don't have a holster. But it's Billy Strings, and we're going to be interviewing him in a little bit. But just to get you folks acquainted with our show, we have some information. Mary's going to tell you some brief updates. You're going to be watching this show after the new year, of course. So everything that's happening this December will be already over with. But we want to both, from Northern Michigan Musicians Journal, we want to wish you Happy New Year!
Yes.
And it's going to be a great year, even though there might be this, what is it called? The cliff.
Right, the financial cliff.
The financial cliff.
The physical cliff.
Fiscal cliff, that's it. Fiscal, good word, fiscal. So we'll see what happens this year with that, with the fiscal cliff. So Mary, what's going on with you on this wonderful December 21st?
Well, this morning that it was a very bad snowstorm, and definitely we thought the world was going to come to an end, but I was able to trudge down from Webster Street to Wellington Street just to find out that the buses were not going to run till the afternoon. But so I wanted to say hello to Tom from Corporate Settlement Services, who gave me a place to stay while I waited for the cab, and kept me warm so I would prevent the frostbite from the harsh December winds.
Great, Mary. And I don't want to advertise Jeep, but I have a Jeep, and I came all the way from East Jordan, and I had dropped stuff off here, and then I went to pick Mary up.
Right, that was a sort of rescuing.
And she was right near where Jack's Liquor Store used to be, and I was very disappointed to find out that Jack's Liquor Store closed. So, I mean, this new millennium is really surprising. People must not be drinking like they used to.
Well, I know that the city commissioner cracking down in many ways about the homeless and people who are drinking.
And even though they're homeless, people that are homeless do get liquor somehow, don't they?
Yes, they do.
It's amazing.
They're cracking down with the parks and people staying at Lay Park and Hannah Park and some of these other parks too, that they don't want the homeless there because of they drink a lot, and they're putting on fees about other than the film festival and the National Cherry Festival, about starting about $50 for events being at Clinch Park and the West End Beach.
Yeah,
and also, the scale is a little lower for nonprofit groups like up north.
Well, nonprofit groups, the scale is lower. What do you mean?
You know, what their fee would be.
Their fee?
Yes.
For what?
You know, to have their event there.
Oh, to have their event in a public park?
Yes.
Okay, and homeless people can pay. They don't have events, do they?
Well, they have, they attend the events.
Oh, they do? The free ones?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I remember back in the 80s, I saw something on TV, and it was about homeless people. And it's odd that I would think there's probably more homeless people today than there ever has been because of our global financial upheaval that the United States also is experiencing. But you don't see nothing about homeless people much. And I was listening to the Omelet Show.
Yes.
On WKLT, and they were talking about the homeless and giving them a bus ticket to go to Florida. you know? And I know that Florida's a nice place in the winter because you could sleep on the beach, but I don't think that's going to solve the problem.
Yes, and then also where I know somebody that where we have safe harbor, but they treat them very well, and they have almost like gourmet food.
And where?
Different churches do it one per week.
Okay, so just contact a church.
Yes, it's Grist Episcopal this week.
And that's a wonderful thing. It's amazing. And I think that churches should be commended for doing this sort of service.
True, very true, but then where we treat them so well too, but sometimes it kind of annoys me when you want to work at a computer in the library and you have a 10-minute waiting period because somebody ahead of you is playing Farmville. And
they don't have their own computer because they are broke, right?
Right.
And so I, on the other side of the coin, I want to appreciate our library system, our whole library system throughout at least the state of Michigan, because I've used it to meet people at libraries. They have quiet rooms, conference rooms, and it's great that they have computers for people who don't have their own.
It is.
So you were going to ask, you don't have any mail today for me, right?
No, but I'm going to ask you to tell a band story.
A band story. This segment's going to be real short. I'd like to end it with a true band story.
But then before that, talk about your appearance at the Charlevoix Library on the 28th.
Oh, this is true. I'm glad you reminded me about that.
We're on the subject of libraries.
A personal admirer bought a few posters for me, and the poster over here has the information on it. As you see, this is a humongous poster. I really appreciate this poster. January 28th at the Charlevoix Library, it's going to be free, so anybody could come, whether you're homeless or not. It's free, and it's a wonderful thing put on by the Charlevoix Library, where they have funding for this sort of thing. And one of our previous guests, Dwayne Martin, is an employee at the Charlevoix Public Library. He's involved in this. But all the information's on the poster. Thanks, Mary, and I think that's good enough for that. I'll be playing all my songs, original songs, for an hour. And I'm going to have Cal Manis backing me, at least so far.
Okay, now the band story.
Back in 1983, I had a band called Soft Touch. We played a lot of weddings, but in January and February, we always played at the bar because we didn't make as much money, but our equipment could stay there all week long, so we didn't have to load and unload. A wedding band's job, the part of it is to unload the equipment out of the van, set it up, play, then tear it all down, and don't pay anybody in the band till after they unload the van. Otherwise, you'll be stuck with a van full of equipment. And so we had this gig at Crazy Roses. It was a bar on Middle Belt Road. It's now called the Wheat and Rye. We set up the equipment, and I was in charge of the PA. And the prongs on the PA broke off. You know how you plug something in the wall? The prong broke off. So we were faced with the issue of we're not going to have a PA. I grew up in the area, and right across the street was a drugstore, and it was almost closing time. And I was thinking like MacGyver, sort of, before MacGyver, though. This was long before MacGyver. I ran across the street and bought a cheap extension cord and a box of razor blades, and I went back to the bar, and I cut the broken plug completely off. And I stripped the wires, and I got the hot and the ground, and I took the cheap extension cord and I jammed the wires into the plug part and then taped it with duct tape. And then I gave everyone in the band a razor blade. And I said, okay, if this doesn't work, then it's going to be Harry Carey. Mm-hmm. But it worked. I plugged it in, we had the PA, and it worked, and a couple of people in the band were totally amazed. They thought that it was curses because we weren't going to have a PA all night. We were going to have to play musicals. Mm-hmm. And that's a true story, and that is my band story. Thank you, Mary.
Okay.
And we hope you enjoyed Billy Strings. Now we're going to have our interview with Billy and Don. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Northern Michigan Musicians Journal. Now we have our interview with our special guests, Billy Strings and Don Julin. And they really got the show warmed up here. Mary, how you doing?
Very good, and I welcome both Billy and Don to our show today.
Great. Okay, well, let's get started with the songs. A couple of them are at the beginning of the show, a couple are at the end of the show. And these are were songs you guys wrote, or Billy wrote?
Well, a few of them were. The Dust in the Baggy tune I wrote, Kickin' Mule Don wrote, and the rest of them are pretty much old standards. Public domain songs that, they're so old that nobody knows who really wrote them. So anybody can record them or, play them. And
well, you brought them back to life, that's for sure.
You sure did.
They sounded pretty new.
well, thank you.
Cool. So where are you originally from, Billy?
I am from Ionia County, which is down near Grand Rapids.
Uh-huh.
And I moved up here to Traverse City about a year and a half ago and met up with Don Julin, and we started picking, and it's been great. I love the area. I've met a lot of great people, and I've done a lot of things in the past year and a half that I didn't really expect to do.
That's fun.
Yes.
It is a lot of fun.
What has exceeded your expectations?
Well, it wasn't really my intention to move up here and, play music for a living, really. I've always played music, and I've been in bands and stuff like that, but I'm doing more now than I ever have done in my life, and I haven't really stuck my neck out there. I haven't really put my name out there as much as just the people have. I get a lot of encouragement and a lot of hype from just the, my peers and my friends, and just the people around Northern Michigan. I haven't made a name for myself. The people have made a name for me.
Yeah, I know that a couple weeks ago that Bob Downs wrote a wonderful article about you in Northern Express.
Yeah, he did, and he put me on the front cover without a shirt on.
Yes.
So if you folks don't have a copy of that Northern Express, that might be something you want to go dig up.
Yes.
There is ways of getting the old editions.
Yeah, Bob, he made a video of me, and I guess he kind of followed me around for a few weeks, and the different places I was playing, and he put a montage together, and he narrated it. I didn't know he was going to do that either. It was pretty cool.
And you got a picture on the front page of the Northern Express?
Yeah, I didn't know he was going to do that, He just, I kind of expected just a nice little article, and he gave me a big, nice article.
Was that November or early December?
It was in November.
Folks, just so that you know, today is the day the Earth was supposed to end. It's December 21st, and you'll probably be watching this show in January, sometimes early January, so that we could put things into perspective. But yeah, November, that was great, Billy. You guys sounded great. What were you doing before you met Billy? Just tell us a little bit about yourself. Well,
I'm an old dog. I've been around this town forever, playing in a bunch of different bands and doing anything I can with music for the last 30 years or so in Traverse City. So I'm part of the local scene. And I heard that there's this real great flat picker that moved to town, and I have always enjoyed bluegrass music, but I've never really played it with anybody, because the guys that I play with play jazz or honky tonk or different types of things like that. And so I don't know where it was, maybe down at the Brew. I went out to see you playing. It was at the Brew, and I brought my laptop because I was working on that book that I did last year, and I'm typing away and watching you guys play. And I went, well, it's true. He is a heck of a guitar player. So I think that's when I introduced myself to you and said, hey, I'm doing this project. It's going to take me a few more months to get it done, but when I'm done with this, let's get together and play. And so we tried it out, played a couple gigs. Seems like a pretty good fit.
Yes, it does.
So here we are.
Well, you could be caught up in Billy Mania.
Well,
I mean, all these years, and
I could see why there is Billy Mania. You know?
yeah, this is great. Yeah, that's great. And it's really how it happens. Billy didn't expect it, but it's going on, and people love him. So we want everyone to know. Well, let's see. Now, remember, this is probably going to be shown sometime in early January, so you can talk about your gigs. But if you have one next week, people will probably be seeing this, and it already is going to be over.
The world's going to be over anyway. So.
Right.
Well, if the world's over, no one's going to
We're
see
doing this for no reason, man. A few hours here, and we're...
Right.
But if it's
Well,
not over...
there's a party going on tonight at Left Foot and Charlie's, the End of the World party, 6 to 9.
Yeah, and we're playing there.
Great.
Oh, you
Yeah.
guys...
So was E minor.
They're really entertaining, man.
Oh, really? She's over there too tonight?
Yes, she is.
Oh, I didn't know there was two groups. Cool.
If you're watching this, you weren't one of the chosen ones, so you're stuck on Earth for a while.
Right.
So enjoy and come out and hear Billy. So with that in mind then, again, where are some of your gigs going to be? You can tell us in December, but then for January...
Well, after the first of the year, we're going to start playing Thursday nights over at Little Bohemia, which people used to call Little Bo, but now they would prefer that you call it Little Bohemia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're more upscaled than they used to be.
So Bo was once short for Bohemia, but now Little Bohemia.
And where they recently celebrated 80 years.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah, they've been a neighborhood pub for 80 years.
Wow.
So yeah, we'll be playing Thursday nights over there, and we'll play occasional Fridays over at Left Foot Charlie's and wherever else. I mean, we're just kind of getting out there now and snooping around for gigs. So
we will put a streamer on our future shows if we get the info, letting people know where our former guests are playing.
Cool.
So
Yes.
you guys can give us a call. And when you got somebody with a lot of talent and people love him and he sounds great, a lot of times instrument companies will give you instruments to be their sponsor. And I know, Billy, that you've been looking at some really nice guitars. And they're custom made. So what was that brand guitar, that custom made guitar you were looking at?
There's all sorts of handmade guitars, from all over this country, but they're really expensive to get a good guitar, but they're worth it, So, I mean, someday I'll be able to afford something like that, but...
Well, he's a local guy, is it? Or is that guitar from out of town?
He lives over in Maine.
In Maine? Oh, that's a ways away, yeah. Because there's a lot of luthiers in Traverse City, too.
Yeah, well...
yeah, they're everywhere. I think that's cool that there's so many people building instruments now, guitars and mandolins.
Yeah.
It's a really great time to
Especially
be
if they can make them sound good and...
Well, yeah, and you know how to make them sound good.
Yeah, especially.
And I'm a Taylor man. I love Taylor. I know it's somewhat more commercial than a lot of them, and you can get a good guitar made by a man who works in his shop, We had the Droogs on a couple of weeks ago, and their bass player built his bass. He's a cabinet maker, but the bass he's playing was handmade.
Cool.
So,
And I think there was somebody also in Clare who did custom made guitars and mandolins, and I remember Mark Chalette from TV74 doing a story on him, made with Michigan hands.
Mm-hmm.
Made with Michigan hands, yeah. And so, who are some of your influences, Billy?
My father, first and foremost. He just raised me right. I couldn't have asked for a better childhood. I grew up around banjos and fiddles and bluegrass music, and if you walked into my house, there was a Bill Monroe record spinning, or Doc Watson or something like that. Doc Watson, is and will always be my favorite musician. I was lucky to walk on the earth at the same time as him. And, I got the chance to see him once, and it just blew my mind. He was a true treasure. So I love Doc Watson, and I just love all kinds of music, really, but, you know, bluegrass, old-timey music and bluegrass music. Just all the old, you know, the masters.
Traditional country?
Yeah, old country is good, too. You know, Hank Williams and stuff like that, but I'm really stuck on traditional bluegrass.
What do you think of the newer country and the country rock people
Well,
like
that's not
Bruce
country.
Bentley and Kenny Chesney and
That ain't country.
How about the Hayloft? Don't they specialize in bluegrass? I know they've had a lot of bluegrass, but Bill Dungeon has a show, radio show there. You guys have been to the Hayloft too, haven't
I
you?
wouldn't say they specialize in anything, really.
Really?
It's an open mic night. We, you know, we all go out there and mingle with the other musicians, and people play all kinds of stuff out there. Sometimes there is some bluegrass, sometimes there's some country, sometimes there's some, you know, a guy stands there and tells jokes on the microphone. But, you know, it's just like, you can pretty much go out there and do whatever you want, and it's encouraged.
Good.
in
Well,
fact, I've seen Carl from the library. He has done some new things like Earl Smith and Rush and the district library.
Carl?
His name's Carl, and he has long dark hair and
He plays electric guitar?
yes.
Oh, okay.
But he works the circulation desk at the library too, and I think he has done some things that were the given prizes for the longest drive, you know, courtesy of the library. And
How about recording? Do you have some CDs yet?
We do have, we did just finish an album, and we recorded it in Don's basement. And
You have a recording studio in your basement, no doubt, right?
The dungeon,
Yeah.
Don's man cave. Yeah.
Don's Dungeon. Yeah.
You have some equipment.
Well,
Or is
yeah, and
it-
a lot of experience doing that. I
really?
ran a recording studio for about 10 years, and you know I've been around that stuff all
Around here?
Yeah.
Are they still around or
No. This was years ago. But I've you know I've probably produced, I don't know, 50 records over the years. You know, either my own stuff or, you know, working with Claudia Schmidt. I did a Greg Brown record a bunch of years ago. And so I've been around that industry a long time, and a few years ago I stopped working with other folks and really just wanted to scale it back, move it into my basement, and have my own personal little fun room.
Well, well, it does interfere with creativity, the musical kind. I mean, you got to know how to run the equipment. And
Yeah, but once you figure that part out, you know, I don't know. I like both. I really like the art of recording, but I really like playing. So in this project, we got together and set some microphones up and tried to figure out what is the best way to record this music. And it's like the most low-tech
analog?
I wish. I can't afford that right now.
Well, analog's outdated.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
you got to get
everything's
old
going
stuff.
digital these
but no,
days.
but no, my
Did you have like GarageBand?
My heroes still record on analog. I mean, you know, they can afford to run those machines and find tape. But no, we recorded on a Pro Tools setup on a Mac. But with the microphones were all more vintage style, you know, ribbon microphones, which is like 1930s technology.
Oh, really? Wow.
And we both sat about this close to each other, looking right at each other. No headphones, no overdubs, no sound isolation, just play. And I'm really pleased with how it came out. It sounds really raw. It's really honest. It's nothing at all like, you know, you had mentioned the modern country, like coming out of Nashville.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound anything at all like that. No, this sounds more like a recording from the 50s.
Modern country sounds a lot more like rock and roll than country.
That's true.
Criticism I've heard. I always like the old country, and the guys,
too.
some guys try to replicate that.
Well, yeah, I like old country. I like old rock and roll too. But, But it's like, nowadays it's like rock and roll with a cowboy hat is called country. And
Oh, right. Yeah, wear a cowboy hat.
Do they even use a steel guitar anymore, or just?
I don't
You
know.
throw a steel guitar in, you could call it country too,
Well,
no
I
matter
think-
what it is.
Yeah, that just comes down to that's part of the. That's like the marketing end of the business. That's like these big Hollywood movies that we all know they could make better movies, but they got to make money. You know,
That's a drag. That's put
money
a crunch on a lot of things.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that modern country stuff, even though every person that plays on every one of those records is immensely talented, those Nashville players can play. Now, what they choose to produce record-wise isn't my cup of tea. That's all.
Yeah.
But it clearly is for a lot of people, or they wouldn't do it. I mean, if they weren't.
Well, they go for the averages, the masses,
if they weren't
sure.
If they weren't selling millions of copies of those CDs, they'd figure out something else that would sell. So, and the music that we're playing is certainly more rootsy. It's off the beaten path. I think when people hear it, they love it. But there isn't any big record companies or any big marketing campaign trying to sell this kind of music and capitalize on it and make millions of dollars. There isn't millions of dollars to be made.
Right.
I've got a lot of ideas from what you're saying, but before we spin off track, Billy, what's the name of the album then? The new CD? What do they call it nowadays? Album is such a nice word.
It is.
CD doesn't seem the same, does it?
I think we should go back to album.
We should.
Like now, as of the end of this year, film will no longer be used in the industry.
Right.
And so, are they going to change it to the Traverse City Disc Festival? It doesn't. So, but what's the name of the new album?
The
Billy?
Memory Chip Festival.
Yeah, the Chip Festival.
Yeah. The new album is called Rock of Ages.
Excellent name.
And that's, it's one of the songs. It's one of the old standard songs that we recorded, and it's a powerful tune. I've played it for as long as I can remember, and it's just a song that really means a lot to me. And so that's the title track of the album, and I think it fits too. It's like Don was saying, it's really rootsy, and it's like the Rock of Ages, man. Hopefully it stands up over time.
Yeah.
This music certainly has, as far as I'm concerned. And also like Don was saying, there's not millions of dollars to be made in the stuff that we are doing, but I'm okay with that. I love playing this music. I've done it since I was born, and there's nothing like it to me.
Well, bluegrass needs somebody like you to give it some energy, to bring it back. There's, and as far as it goes, I know that in the 80s and 90s, somebody like Jimi Hendrix couldn't make it. But now you have indie labels, and you don't have to listen to what the managers who follow the statistics do. If you get a good CD, excuse the expression,
Album,
CD, an album,
record,
you could really go. The people will buy it, and you'll be able to go with it.
It's not even really about that. For me, it's about I have fun with what I'm doing. This is what I've done my whole life, and if I could make a decent living, I don't have to have a yacht.
Yeah, but it would be nice.
Well, I don't even know that it would be. It's just be.
You're very young. How would you inspire other young people who want to be in music and promoting themselves, marketing themselves?
How would I inspire them?
Yes.
Or I would.
Keep doing what you're doing. I think they'll be inspired when they hear you.
Yeah, watching him is the inspiring part.
It was,
just have to practice like the devil. That's all there is to it. There's not a day that goes by where I don't play for at least an hour. Whether I'm playing a gig or if I'm not playing a gig or doing something like this, a radio show or something like this, I'm in my room, woodshed. I'm practicing, and that's what you have to do. And I've done that for 17 years of the 20 years that I've been alive. So,
right, it has to be your passion.
You realize that by doing that, though, you missed out on a lot of good video game playing.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, a lot of sitcoms. Music is a very enriching path to take.
A lot of bad TV and video games that you passed up on there. That most people your age are all over that stuff.
We're in the high-tech age now, and so we need to make sure that people can get a hold of you, because we could put your email, web page, phone number if you'd like, address on the show. Mike will edit it. Our wonderful director in the back room there. Say hi, Mike.
Hi.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, did you hear that, folks? Anyway, so give us that information. How would you, if somebody wants to find out, do you have a web page?
Well, we do. It's on his website, which is donjulin.com.
DONJ.
ULIN.
Okay,
.com. Yeah, and there's a
JULIN.com.
page for me and Billy there. And we just started a Reverb Nation page for the musicians who like to. The Reverb Nation's like a Facebook for musicians.
Yeah.
So you'd go to reverbnation.com and just search Billy Strings and Don Julin. And there's a few tunes on there and some shows, so you can find out where we're playing on there. On his website too, of course, he's got a schedule on there. And
And a couple clips from the upcoming CDs, so you can hear what they sound like.
Excellent.
yeah.
So,
Fan mail, email address, or anything?
Oh yeah, all that stuff is on there.
Oh, it's all on the webpage, so we'll.
Yeah, the webpage. If you can get, if you can find out more than you ever would want to know about us
Wonderful.
at the webpage.
It's a good thing. And you're on indie label? Do you have a label or anything?
No label at all. Just
Nice.
completely independent.
Excellent.
At this point, anyways,
Yeah.
and we'll see if somebody wants to help distribute or anything. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say to a loved one or friends or any fans or anybody out there?
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Well, just, everybody in northern Michigan, like I said, I've got so much encouragement from these people, and I've met a lot of great musicians like Don, and it's just been great, I moved up here because I landed a job at the Grand Traverse Resort.
Oh, I was going to ask you about your other life, like if there was a career you were pursuing before you really got into music more.
No, I came out of the womb picking.
What were we going to do at the resort?
I'm a lobby attendant there.
Oh, you're working there now?
I still am, yes.
So people could come and get your autograph at the Grand Traverse Resort.
I don't advise that, no. But just, I don't know.
Grand Traverse Resort should hire you to play music for them, huh?
Well, yeah.
Definitely.
I think so too. But I don't know. It's been great. Moving up here, like I said, it wasn't my intention to move up here and become this guy around town, but it's kind of what happened, and I'm just thankful for the opportunity, I guess. I've been really busy, and it's kind of forced me to buckle down and really, start playing music a lot, and that's what I want to do. So, that's good.
Yeah, and we're really lucky that you moved here. I'm really lucky that you moved here. This is a good
I
thing.
can't wait to hear lobby attendant dropout.
Yeah.
Right.
You write that one.
You probably know my niece, Emily Abfodder.
Abfelter?
She works the front desk at Grand Traverse Resort.
No, I don't
Emily
know.
Abfelter.
I don't really talk to those people very much.
Okay.
He's too busy. He's too busy helping
Right.
Yeah.
the residents, or what are they called? The visitors.
The
guests.
residents,
Yeah, they're not residents, though.
The
They're
guests.
visitors. The guests.
the
Yes.
patients.
The patients. The prisoners.
The prisoners.
The inmates.
Whoa, this is taking
Prisoners of opulence.
Taking a weird turn here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, I like working there. I have some good coworkers and stuff like that. But I'd like to play music full time.
Nice.
I think maybe next summer or the summer after that I'll be able to do that. I'll be able to.
It's not going to take you that long. No,
Could happen faster than you think. Got to
we'll-
be prepared for that.
we'll get it going. No,
Right.
it's really exciting. Whenever we play anywhere, like I said, I've been playing around this town, and I've been playing everywhere for 30 years, and I don't remember the last time I was with a group that every time you play, there's like 3 or 4 people that come up to you after the gig and, well, you play here? Well, we got this club, and we got this festival. And it's really exciting playing music with somebody who's this good that people really relate to. I think it's a combination of things. Obviously, Billy's really good, but he's supplying a form of music that isn't very popular around here. And I think this is the Grand Traverse area is finally getting introduced to what bluegrass and mountain music is supposed to sound like.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of bluegrass and mountain influenced music,
Yes,
let's
which
say.
we
You
can
know,
thank Bill Dungeon and Sour Mash.
Absolutely,
they
yeah.
promote it, and our public.
Don, you know, it's great how you're supporting Billy too, though. I think you're complimenting his talent very well.
Well, it's
You get to show yours a little bit.
I get to go along for the ride.
Yeah.
like Interlochen Public Radio and WNMC and.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, then, well, thank you for letting us be a part of your upcoming excitement. You know, part of the
Yes,
Billy Mania.
definitely.
And we hope you remember us when you're big. We can get some front row seats, or maybe get a live
Yes.
interview. You know.
Sure.
And of course tickets to what's the big hall in New York?
Oh, right. Well, well, right now,
You know,
most
and
places-
lodging too, of
Most of
course.
the places we're playing now don't charge a cover, so
That's right.
so right now the ticket price, our selling ticket price is $0.
Now's your chance.
Yeah, so come on out and see us play around town where we're playing, and yeah, if you have a cool festival and you're looking for a duo, get a hold of us. We'll come and pick for you.
Okay, and I'm thinking about early next year when the Telegans is coming up, and we're waiting for details to hear about that.
Yes, and thank you.
Fundraiser for public access. And
Yeah, we'd love to come help you out.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in on Channel 97. Always surf above 50. A lot of folks see this show because they accidentally found Channel 97. Tell them to go there without having to go through all the other 96 numbers. Thank you very much. I'm Dolph. This is Mary.
okay,
This is Don and Billy Strings. You've been watching Northern Michigan Musicians Journal.
Folks, Don just wrote a book. You want to tell them about that, Don?
Sure. Most of you have been in bookstores. Where's the camera? Look at that one here. Yeah. Yeah, most of you have been in bookstores before and seen those yellow and black books that are on just about every shelf about every topic for dummies. Well, now the mandolin world has a mandolin for dummies, and I am the one who put that together, and it's available anywhere in the world that we speak English. It's pretty intimidating, the scope of this book. It's everywhere. But that doesn't have much to do with what we're playing, except that I'm a dummy with a mandolin.
And I'm a dummy with a guitar, I suppose. I moved up to Northern Michigan about a year and a half ago, and I ran into Don Julin somewhere. We got picking somehow, and we ended up playing some music together. And recently we cut an album in Don's basement, and it's got 13 songs on it. It's some old bluegrass standards and a couple originals as well. And it's just great. We're going to call it Rock of Ages, and we'll show you why. One, two, one.
I just seen the rock of ages, Jacob's ladder hanging down. I just crossed the river of Jordan. Now, my son, I'm homeward bound.
Yeah, man. This tune is in the Mandolin for Dummies book that we were talking about a little earlier. It demonstrates a specific thing that happens in bluegrass music for those wanting to learn a little more about bluegrass music. I couldn't really borrow the tunes of Bill Monroe and those guys for this book, so I kind of wrote something that sounds a little bit like them. This one's called The Kickin' Mule. Ready?
Yep.
Let's do one more. Let's do the Cocaine Blues and then.
All right.
Well, here's one about an old dirty thing called cocaine. Stay away from that stuff. 1, 2.
Sniffing that cocaine all over town. Honey, don't let my deal go down. Hey, hey, but let's cocaine be. It was made for horses, not for men. The doc said it came, but he didn't know when. Hey, hey, but let's cocaine be. Yeah, tell it to me, drink on liquor, let's cocaine be. Hey, hey, but let's cocaine be. Yeah, tell it to me, drink on liquor, let's cocaine be. Hey, hey, but let's cocaine be. walking up the field, strutting down Main, trying to find a nickel for to buy cocaine. Hey, hey, but let the cocaine be. Yeah, the burn out she knows, the eyes turn red. Doggone cocaine will kill you dead. Hey, hey, but let the cocaine be. Yeah, tell it to me, drink cold liquor, let the cocaine be. Hey, hey, but let the cocaine be. Yeah, tell it to me, drink cold liquor, let the cocaine be. Hey, hey, but let the cocaine be. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's killing my friends, gonna kill me too. Hey, hey, but let cocaine be. And some of you people think you're tough, sniffing that cocaine just like snuff. Hey, hey, but let cocaine be. Tell it to me, drink cold liquor, let the cocaine be. Hey, hey, but let the cocaine be. Yeah, tell it to me,